Aboraboye, Orisa Lifestyle for Beginners. Today I want to have a little chat about time and the significance of time in terms of how it shapes consciousness. Within Orisa Lifestyle, we don't really give a lot of attention to time, which is why you don't hear any talk about eras. You don't hear any talk about dynasties or periods, right? In the same way that you would say in the European framework, you hear about the Baroque period or modernist period or industrialist, right? Or within the Asian or even the Middle Eastern civilizations, you hear about dynasties, right? In the Nile Valley civilization, there's a real strong emphasis on dynasty. Within the Chinese, you can hear about the Song dynasty or the Tang dynasty or whatever. Within Orisha lifestyle, we don't really define time so strictly. Chronological sequence of time isn't that important. We're dealing with now time, right? Which is what you see even when you go to consult Ifa. Something that happened at some point in the past just serves as a precedent and a model for what you're facing right now. Okay? And if you do what they did in that time, then you're going to get the same kind of results. It doesn't matter what time it was. If it was 5 years ago or 5,000 years ago, all you need to know is that this is the formula for getting similar results. The significance of that, however, is that in the time that we're in right now, we're destined to have a certain kind of an impact. Each time carries with it its own set of obligations and requirements. And to understand that, I want you to think about the developmental cycles that a person goes through as an individual. There are things that you need to do in your adolescence. There are things that you need to do in your teens. There are things that you need to do as a youth. There are things that you need to do as an adult. There are things that you need to do as an elder. And each of them sets the stage for the next. Okay? Which is why the Yoruba will say that a person who is negligent in his morning is only setting the stage for suffering in his evening, which is a metaphor for saying that if you are a lazy person as a child, then when you're an elder, then you're going to be living in poverty, right? And it's a good template for understanding the bigger picture of as a civilization goes through different developmental stages. There are things that the civilization must do collectively at the beginning in order so that when the civilization gets, into its golden years, there are certain things in place for the people. And so that's why I'm talking about where we are right now as a community, as a collective. There are things that we need to do now to meet the requirements of our generation so that in subsequent generations there will be certain kinds of resources, there will be certain kinds of abundance, there will be a certain level of consciousness and awareness that our great grandchildren will be able to enjoy as a result of our investment. And that is something that we're largely overlooking as a group, right? And it punctuates again the importance of what's happening in the Orisha Lifestyle Academy. My objective is not to provide, definitive information to say that this is the way, this is the only information that matters. That's not that's not appropriate and it's not helpful as far as I'm concerned. To me, what's the most important thing right now is to put into place a consistent way of understanding, a consistent sort of a blueprint for viewing and engaging with Orisha lifestyle, no matter what system you're working with. If it's the Haitian system or the Benin system or the Yoruba system of Nigeria or of Brazil or Cuba or Trinidad, the only thing that concerns me at this point is that you have a consistent way of being able to get involved with the tradition, from beginning, middle, and end. And that's what the sort of the spectrum of offerings that I'm making are intended to do. No matter what system you practice, I want to give you a template for examining it from the beginning of your practice to the middle of your practice, and then as your practice matures and reaches, an elder kind of a status, that you have a way of then passing it on to the next generation, your children and your grandchildren and your godchildren, and so on and so forth. So what I want you to do is I want you to take into consideration what we're doing in the spectrum of free offerings, YouTube, Facebook, etc. Take a look at the scope of books, the scope of classes, certification, membership. All of these things are meant to provide a consistent framework for you to engage in the process from beginning, middle, and end. Aboru aboye, aboshishe.